Afternoon and a very happy Easter to all of those of you around the world watching. This is Safari Live, and we have got some vultures and the Nkuhuma Pride, and of course it's myself once again with you, Steve Falconbridge. I'm just back from leave. On camera we got Ferg, who's also just back in from leave. We're excited, we are happy. The life of the lions is going on, and we have got what seems to be the remains of a kudu kill. Please feel free to send through your questions, hashtag Safari Live. Follow us on the YouTube stream. Let us know what you'd like to see. I've been out of touch for the last 10 days, so it's been a marvelous leave. Both Ferg and I are fresh, and we're excited, and we are nowhere near as full as that lion in the front of the picture. Look at the size of that belly. This absolutely gorges itself. The area around here is completely flat from where the lions have been scuffling and feeding, and the big male kudu has been shared probably relatively equally between the pride, apart from maybe the very smallest individual might just have got a few scraps. And we have many, many, many vultures in the tree awaiting what the lions might leave behind. I doubt there's going to be too much. And what we have seen already is some of these hooded vultures, because the majority of those trees in there are actually hooded vultures. Becky and Tom, thank you. I am back. Yes, nice to be back. So most of these, that is an immature hooded vulture. You can see by the brown, dark plumage on the head. The rest of them are adults, most of them anyway. And hooded vultures, in my opinion, are the most reliable vulture when it comes to finding meat and animals. So lions with a kill, for example, look where the hooded vultures are, and directly below them is where you'll find the meat. So these poor vultures, and what a disgusting way it is to experience their afternoon. They are landing on the floor, and they are feeding on, yes, they are feeding on lion droppings. Sorry about the aerial there. Those two are now fighting over some lion droppings, because that is all that the Nkuhumas are going to leave these vultures. And it is a way of life for them. It is the protein source. It might sound quite revolting to all of us out there. But there you can see the beautiful pink head, quite narrow beak, and that sort of V-shape white on the chest. Beautiful birds, in my opinion. Very important for the environment. Vinny would like to know how long it would take these lions to digest the meat. Vinny, probably 2 days at the earliest. They'll by that stage they'll probably move off to feed again, but their tummies are completely full. They won't need to eat for another week. They will, but they won't need to. You can see that one there's nowhere near as full as this youngster in the foreground, but the sun is slowly coming out. It is 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a nice, relatively cool afternoon in Djuma in the Sabi Sands, and it has been a very hot week building up to this, and I think the lions are enjoying a little bit of the respite. There's not too much shade around where they are at the moment, but they're making do of very small branches. And he's guarding the kill with absolute purpose. Look at that. Huge breathing, because as you can imagine, all that meat pushing down on the diaphragm forces it up, and then the breaths are very short. Hello again, Vinny. You want to know if vultures have permanent homes or follow food? Vinny, they generally will have colonies. For example, whiteback vultures will nest in colonies. Hooded vultures, I'm trying to think. I think they just have normal nesting sites, sort of spaced out from each other. Cape vultures will generally be up on cliff faces, same as lappet face vultures, but they can be very, very far away. But every single morning, when the heat and the thermals start rising, the vultures will descend or ascend from their place of rest, and they'll go up high into the sky, spreading out into a very large network of birds, and they've got very keen eyes. And as soon as one of them drops, doesn't matter how far away it is, it causes a ripple effect which forces vultures from many, many kilometers in either direction to come through and to find the exact same meat as the first individual. So they help each other with that. Okay, so on that note, we're going to go over to Miss McCurdy, who has found herself a little family. I'm sure Taylor would be dying to find you an Easter egg or two. We are here with the Nkuhumas, and we have moved around a little bit just to get a nice look at these females. Here we have in picture the one that I believe is called Pretty. She has got the damaged right eye. When she opens it, you can see it's got a bit of a purplish tinge to it, and it's probably blind, which makes her, it does take away a little bit of her advantage as a predator. But as I've said before, being in a pride gives her the strength and ability to still manage to feed and be quite successful. And what a pride this is indeed. And as you can see them panting, folks, there's been a few ablutions that have gone on while you have been away from us. And the wind is very unfavorable for us. The vultures are loving the lion excrement. And the smell, I must be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, is something that you would not quite comprehend. Ferg is giggling as well. He's trying not to shake the camera. But the lions will always go and do something like that. But they'll always go and stand up and look at you and then defecate and then just kind of give you this knowing smile of, yep, the wind is blowing towards you now. So they are very full. It's not too much left on that kudu carcass, just the main sort of cervical vertebra and the back. It seemed from what we could see from our vantage point that all of the meat is gone. So they'll be leaving probably the bigger bones for the scavenging hyenas. It was really quite interesting on our way through, seeing lots and lots of tracks on the road. Obviously, Taylor had told me that the Nkuhumas were here, so I knew where we were going, but there was all sorts of interesting activity from probably yesterday, from where the lions were chasing hyenas and tracks of hyena and lion all over the place with a bit of rainfall. I really, really love seeing those scenes. I'd love to be able to watch it, go back and to replay. And that's what's so wonderful about tracking is you can go out, you can kind of see, read the bush newspaper, as my trackers used to tell me, and they can see and tell you things that you just can't quite perceive. And it's quite nice to sort of put that back into perspective and to try and investigate everything that went down. Vinny wants to know if they breathe quickly to help digesting, or is it to cool down? Well, there's a lot of cooling down needed, but they do a lot of the cooling down through their feet. But it's because the diaphragm is pushed. It's very, very full stomach. The diaphragm's pushed up, so their lungs are restricted for the movement. So they're having to breathe like that to get enough oxygen just to maintain their normal body process. It would be almost impossible for them to run at this stage because they would just be out of breath very, very quickly. It's almost like going higher in altitude. The compression or the oxygen changes in the air, and so it becomes more and more difficult to breathe. It's kind of like that. They've just got a restriction in the lung capacity. And this is the lady with the injured bottom. We've all seen that injury. It's looking far better than it did only 2 weeks ago when I last saw this pride. But you can see with her full belly, that's going to do her very, very well in the healing process. So another injured candidate in the pride who is still doing very, very well because of the assistance of her sisters. An injury like that or a blindness in a leopard would make it very difficult for them to still maintain good condition. Hello, Robert. You'd like to know if all lions have names? No, Robert, not all lions, but what happens with the show is that people like to get more involved and to try and follow the characters. So definitely on Safari Live, there's names. Whenever I've worked in the past, we've only given the pride name. We've never really given the individuals names, purely because the dynamics can change. And I think a lot of people fall in love with the characters, and if they do disappear, it becomes quite difficult to deal with. But if you're in a large reserve with multiple prides coming in and out, it's very difficult to keep focus on the individual names, I find anyway. But here, with what we do, we spend a lot of time with these animals, so it is quite nice for us to follow their lives and their stories. And as you probably know, all our leopards in the area have got very good characters and names, and we follow them, or all of you do at home, follow them very, very well. Isn't she beautiful? A little finger grass in front. It's almost too uncomfortable for her to lie down. She's so full. So she's between, what am I going to do? Is she frothing at the mouth there, Ferg? She is, eh? Shame, and that's an enormous tick on the side of her face there. Costa, would you like to know what big cats hunt the most? Well, all the big cats hunt. Who hunts the most is really hard to say. It's all about being hungry. So a large pride of lions would have to hunt more than a leopard because they've got more mouths to feed, but a smaller pride of lions would have to hunt less, if that makes any sense. And then cheetah might hunt more than other cats purely because they lose their kill. Oh, did you hear that? She had a little bit of expulsion of air as she lay down there. We hope the wind is still favorable. So I hope that answers your question. All the cats will hunt when need be, and they will hunt on necessity, and they'll hunt just out of pure instinct. I've had a leopard with a baby zebra and 2 warthogs in the same tree that he caught in the same morning, because we saw him catch the zebra, and then by the time we got there in the afternoon, he had the 2 warthogs. So he didn't do that because he was hungry. He did it because it just appeared in front of him, and he grabbed what he could. Those of you who are watching the last TV show will have seen Hukumuri, how he killed the warthog and then stashed it, and then shortly afterwards killed a steenbok. It's his instinct. They just will catch what they can whenever they can. So I hope that answers your question. But hunger is definitely what drives them to feeding. Okay, folks, so Tristan's finally eaten all his chocolate and is ready to join us this afternoon. Let's go over to him and see what he has for you. Yes, thanks for that insight, Taylor. Well, we've moved around again, and we've now got this young, it looks like almost a young male, but I think it's a female. It's one of the youngsters in the Nkuhuma Pride, and you can't see it now, but we might get another look. Talking about feeding and feeding aggressively, the right eye of this individual has been smashed. So the left eye looks okay, but if we look at the right eye, maybe it'll turn back to us. You'll see that the eye is completely black inside, and it's probably from feeding. Probably got a massive claw in the eye itself during the festivities or during the competition that goes down when lions feed. Hello, Susie. You'd like to know if lions have a third eyelid like domestic cats? I have no idea. Ooh, I have no idea. But we just missed it there. The other lion to the back just walked off with what looked like a kudu leg. But we'll go around shortly and have a look. But I want to show you this eye. Sorry, Ferg, of this youngster. I have no idea. Maybe any of the other viewers out there can help Susie with a question about the third eyelid. I'm not aware of that at all. But there you can see just where the fly is moving on the eye itself. It's very bloody and very dark. And the pupil inside looked very, very badly damaged from what I could see. But lions off, there we go. Oh, look at that. The eye is not in a good state. It actually opened it earlier for us, and you could see inside the entire pupil was just bloodshot red, dark, bloody red. Maybe it'll show us. I think it's too sore. But it's amazing how resilient these animals are and how they can actually come back from things like that. I wasn't physically there, but a company, Ferg actually worked for them, called Aquavision. They were doing a documentary at Singita in the Kruger Park, and the 2 of the guys who were on the vehicle, the cameraman and the guy who was driving, the one Pride, the mountain Pride, actually jumped onto the back of a hippo, and the hippo tried all it could to try and dislodge the lions, and then turned and grabbed one of the lionesses by the face. One of the tusks went in behind the eye, and one went in underneath the chin. And it picked it up just like a rag doll and threw it away. And we thought surely that lion would die. But within 2 to 3 weeks, she was walking with the Pride as if nothing had happened. But she never regained the use of that one eye, because I think the tusk going in behind would have severed probably the nerve endings there. But that is the thing with lions. They are in pride, so they can support each other, as we've seen with the other 2 adult lionesses that are not in the best shape, but still look in pretty good condition. But this youngster is taken a beating quite early on in life. But what won't kill you only makes you stronger. Not panting as heavily as the others. I wonder if it got as much of the meal. Looking quite full. Hello, Vinny. You want to know if the other lions will help clean the eye? I've seen that. I've seen lions cleaning their eyes. For example, that lioness I was talking about with the hippo, you had the other lionesses coming up and trying to lick the wounds. It wasn't received very well because it was very painful, but they were still willing to do it and it will probably happen, but it looked very, very painful, that eye, to me. Hey, Ferg, you thought so too at the time. But I'm not sure. I hope that nothing untoward has happened to it, and it'll be fine. It's maybe just a bruising. But there's trying to open it. Oh, shame. Looks like it's been in the boxing ring with Mike Tyson. Shame. Poor lion, eh? But that is what happens out here. That's why the feeding competition in lions is so important for their survival. Because, you've got to get stronger, and if you can't survive at the feeding time, then you will not grow up to be a big and strong individual. So it starts off very, very young, and that competition for the feeding is what makes them stronger. Hello, Aiden H6. I hope you're having a fantastic Easter, wherever you might be. You want to know can the lion put medicine in its eye? I wish it could, Aiden, but they don't. They don't. They'll probably just lick it, and their saliva is actually quite good for cleaning wounds, far better than you'd think. But they don't use plant material or any medicines out here. And being wild animals, we are not going to interfere and assist this animal in any way. If it got injured through any means that was related to human incident, then often game reserves might intervene. But if it's a natural thing happening out here in the wilderness, and this probably would have been just over the meat, that it got injured by one of its own family members. So no, there's nothing we're going to do, and nothing that the lion can do apart from wait it out and just lick it and keep it clean itself. And the saliva actually is a very, very, very good cleaning agent for the wounds inside of these cats, which I've seen. And as we've seen on that other individual with that big wound on the back, there's been nothing done there apart from just probably licking. I mean, every time we see her, there's flies and maggots and things. Okay, so we're going to stay here with the lions a bit longer. Let's go to Tristan, who's got a bird of prey. Yes, indeed, a pangolin would be fantastic. And I think we'd abandon everything here and we'd rush over to see the pangolin ourselves. I've only ever seen one before in my life with absolutely no evidence for that, which was quite disappointing. So always have your phone or camera when you're going to find a pangolin. So here we've got what is the remainder of some kudu legs. And there's not much left. You see lots of flies, there's some ants, and if Ferg just zooms back a bit, you'll be able to see now that patch there, that big bloody sort of messy patch where the kill happened and where the feeding took place and where the lions disturbed the ground. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of fur, there'll be a lot of maggots and all sorts of flies that land there. And what it is that's now a little different hotspot. So differences have changed in the community. The grass has been flattened. There's different dynamics with regards to the rumen content would be spilled out there. When the vultures come down and feed, their feces will go into the mix, the lion's feces. So the small little area that the lions have been in with the dead kudu have formed a nice little hotspot or change in the community dynamics. And I know those of you who've been watching the show, I've been keeping abreast slightly and all about the elephant carcass not too far away. And you have a look at the ground around that. And that can stay like that for years, because of the amount of disturbance that has happened from the lions feeding, the hyenas feeding, from the elephant bones, from the skin, from all the vultures. I mean, vultures that park in a tree, if you park your car underneath and they defecate on your car, it will actually strip the paint. So they got very, very powerful digestive juices. So numerous numbers of them on the ground feeding and squabbling for the last bits of whatever meat might remain often lead to, as I'm talking about, a beautiful hot spot that can remain in an area for a very long time, and different communities will grow there. Different fertilizer regimes happen, the blood and the fecal contents together form an interesting dynamic and a little bit of a fertile spot. There you can see the difference in the size of the hooded and the whiteback. And actually the one on the left is an adult hooded. The one on the top, it looks like he's a bit more brown on the head, but then the face is quite pink, but he almost looks like a juvenile. And then the whiteback, which is bigger. You can see quite noticeably bigger. But the hooded vulture is the smallest vulture that we find and not often seen in large groups. This is the most I've ever seen. I I counted 17 just now, which is the most hooded vultures I've ever seen before, which is awesome. Okay, so I hope you're all finding your Easter eggs. Taylor's busy searching for something that's also hiding in the grass. Oh, I hope you do find Tingana. I haven't seen him in so long. It's been about a month for me, I think, since I've seen him. Way too long. It's about time he showed himself. But we are still with the lions. They're not doing too much, ladies and gentlemen, but I'd like to just continue that discussion about the importance, and how everything works in the ecosystem. First of all, there you have the lions lying on some grass, and there are some trees all around them. Both of them aid in the camouflage of the cat, but the plants provide the food and the resources which the kudu then takes into themselves. And then the lions come along and they feed on them, and there's death and decay, and the vultures do the remaining feeding and the remaining defecations and decomposition. And then you get the dung beetles and all the beetles and flies and larvae and everything. And slowly but surely that all ends back up in the soil, and the cycle starts all over again. So none of it is wasted. It is all very, very well in tune with the balance and circle of life. And just for that example, I've got what I found in the front of the car here, which is a marvelous dung beetle ball. And those of you have probably seen this before in the past. It is a very, very nice example of what a dung beetle will do, what's called a nuptial ball. Not always the nuptial ball, but where the male and female will actually mate. The male will actually create this ball and then roll it away from the site of the food. In this case here, it's going to be the rumen content of that dead kudu. And so then he will find a female, or she will find him because of the beautiful size of this ball that he's created. Then they'll mate and lay one egg, and inside hatches a individual dung beetle, and very, very well revered by the Egyptians. They look back because they believe that the dung beetle goes through the same process as their pharaohs did, because they also were covered as mummies. When a dung beetle goes through this whole cocoon stage inside and metamorphosizes from a larvae into the beetle itself, they go through the same sort of transition as the pharaohs hoped to do in the afterlife. So very, very well looked after, and very, very important nutrient recyclers for putting everything from the lion's dung, the vulture's dung, and everything else back into the soil, and the circle of life continues. So Evelyn wants to know, why do lions hunt in prides? The reason they hunt in prides is because they can take bigger prey animals. If you are one individual, like for myself, for example, if I had to go and try to take something down, first I've got to be fast enough to catch it, and second enough, I've got to be strong enough to put it down. Now, if you're not that fast or that strong, then you can have friends who can help you, almost like a team, a football team or a rugby team. To try and play the game on your own is very, very difficult. So with more numbers, more strength, more tactics, more sort of ambush, and some of them can chase from this side and some can ambush that side, then with the weight in numbers, they can pull down much larger prey than a leopard could, for example, and then also be able to feed on much larger prey. And at the same time, the larger the pride, the bigger the territory and the stronger they will be for defense of that territory. I hope that works. Robert, I would love to find the male lions for you. I don't know. I believe they've been seen on the property in the last couple of weeks. Ferg and I don't have the information. Unfortunately, I didn't spend enough time chatting with Tristan and Taylor about it, but I will find out more where they are. Some of the tracks I saw on the way here were of male lions, but I've just got back this afternoon, so I'd love to find them for you. Who knows? There's been interesting dynamics between the Birmingham boys and the Evoker males, and hopefully those dynamics will continue into the near future. Well, we're going to go quickly over to Taylor, who's got probably one of the cutest animals ever seen. Taylor, and it is picked up some picked up some lion dung off of the ground, was stalked and chased by the lion, and now you can see, look at the crop underneath the throat there. On the throat, that is full of what I can only assume is the scraps of lion dung that it's been picking up from around the area. But seeing as we've got the vulture in picture, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please pay attention. On the 8th of April, we are having what we call Draw a Bird Day. And Pradeep and Willow and all the other kids out there, please send through your pictures, draw a bird and send them through to us. We'd love to have a look at them. 8th of April, we'd love to see your take on the birds out there. Boys and girls, please send them through as we look at this beautiful vulture. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so please send them through before the 8th of April so we can put them together into a video and send it all out to you on that day. So please, ladies and gentlemen, tell your children or tell whoever is interested in drawing a bird. It would be wonderful. Wonderful. I know there's some budding artists out there. You don't have to draw this bird, but if you choose to, let's see how the imagination flies. Maybe go and draw your favorite bird or the prettiest bird, whatever you'd like. Doesn't matter. And we finally got a lioness in front of us that has stood up. We wonder, is that Amber Eyes? Look at her belly. She is full. It looks like Amber Eyes. Beautiful lioness. I always recognize her from the size. She's just enormous. Enormous cat. Sorry about my hand there. She's coming in. Going to come as close to us as she sees fit. You see, she's just in front of us there. And her sisters are lying down in the grass here. Let's see what she makes of it. Is she going back to feed? Seems like she might be. She feels like a little bit of leftover kudu. You might hear the noise of another vehicle. We are being joined, I believe, by another game drive. So apologies if there is a bit of audio. Looks like Texan from Vuyatela. It's a marvelously cool afternoon, folks, and I think the lions are really enjoying. Oh, it's Rexon, actually. Rex. They're coming to have a look at these wonderful vultures and very fat cats. Bless you. Is she feeding there, Ferg? Can you see? I can't see her. I think she's decided to just lie down on the food in case she gets that little snack, you know. I think some of us do that from time to time. We wake up in the middle of the night, we walk to the kitchen, and while we're waiting for the toast or whatever, we have a little bit of a nap. Maybe the effort it took her to walk those 30-odd yards is taken out of her. Now the lioness is coming in from the right. They are not very interested in allowing these vultures anywhere near their meal. And the youngster has stalked and chased them a few times. I wonder what it would do if it caught it. I can't imagine the vulture tastes anything like what a lion would enjoy eating. I can't see what she's got there, Ferg. Can you see? Bless you. Oh, okay. That's what's happening. Someone is defecating. The smell is reaching our nostrils. I think it's this youngster in front of me, Ferg. He's a young boy. Have a look at that. He's just in front of us, just moving around the car. He's definitely had the lion's share. When you look at that belly, it's bulging and fat. He's going to rub heads with Mum. Okay, folks, so we're probably going to move on from these lions shortly, but while we think about our next movements, let's go back over to Taylor with Ellies, who seem to be thirsty. Tristan, I hope you managed to find Osana or Tingana, whoever it is whose tail or trail you are following. We do know you are the leopard expert finder, with an enormous network of communication that somehow manages to get its way to you on the leopard movements. So I have no doubt Tristan will be fortunate in his endeavors. And here we have one of the beautiful lionesses in the golden afternoon light. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the wind has just started to pick up a bit, and two of the lionesses actually moved off, we thought, to maybe go off and drink. But we haven't been able to follow because we are surrounded by lions at the moment. So we thought we might as well stay with the rest of the pride. And if they do get up and also go and quench their thirst, then we would follow. But there's been no other movement. And the one lioness has already returned. So I'm not sure exactly how far away we are from treehouse dam, but there are a few puddles and pools in and around. And with the rain we had recently, I'm sure there is suitable water not too far away to quench the thirst of these engorged cats. Look at her, that is, I don't know who that is, but she's too full to sit down. Hello, Vinny. You like to know what is the purpose of the black stripes behind lion ears? Now look at her, she's looking straight at us, and you can't really see her, but when she turns around, the black is very evident. So when lions are moving through the long grass, obviously their vision is black and white, and most other animals out here see black and white. So when the lion's coming from you from the front, their face is almost invisible. The tawny color sort of disappears into the grass. But as they are moving through the grass, their intention, when they are looking in one direction, the intention of those ears indicates exactly where they're looking. And it's a silent communication that all of those following behind can also pay attention to see which individual wildebeest or impala or zebra has that one picked out. And then they can assist in basically moving in and tackling the same prize. So from behind, the eyes and the blacktail are very, very obvious to any lion that's following, but from the front, not so much. I hope that answers your question. Same as for leopards, but that's the white tip on the tail is for the cub to follow through the long grass. So I hope everybody is having a marvelous Easter out there, and I'm sure there's lots of chocolate being eaten, not just by Taylor or Tristan. Hopefully no one's gorging themselves on chocolate the way these lions have gorged themselves on kudu. Hello, Hope, age 10. You ask a very interesting question. Do lions have predators? And the answer to that, Hope, is that lions are the apex predator here in the savanna biome, which means they are the top predator. But that doesn't mean that they are the best. It means that they are at the top and they need to stay there. But the biggest competitor for lions is other lions. So large prides of lions will have competition with each other. Large males will compete with each other. But then any other predator, be it lion, be it hyena, be it leopard, will always try and kill the cubs of another predator if they come across it, or the individual itself. Many occasions of cheetah being killed by a lion, by leopard, hyena killing anyone that they can, wild dogs being killed. We've documented wild dog being killed by a lioness. Hyenas will actively kill the cubs of lions. Male lions will kill the cubs of other male lions. There's lots of reasons for this. Most of it is to do with competition. So it's a very, very interesting question. But yeah, there's huge competition out here, not just between the lion prides, but between the other predators, such as cheetah, even large eagles, even puff adders, or snakes, should I say, like the python has been known to swallow small baby cats, like a leopard, for example. Very sad, but it is the way things work out here, and it is how the system continues to perpetuate itself. So, should we have a look on this side? Are there anything else going on with these lions? I don't think so, Ferg. There we go, just in time. It sits up. Hello, we called that one. They haven't been doing too much movement. The kudu is practically just some bones there, and he's cuddling with his little teddy bear. Believe it or not, there is the remains of a kudu behind that patch of grass. And if I maybe go forward a touch, you might be able to see just the horn, just through the bushes there. Maybe a little quiz for all of those of you out there who love to watch this show and spend time with us. You know I enjoy my trees. Who can tell me what tree that is above the lion or above the kudu horn? Here we go. That one right there, Ferg, yeah. I wonder if anyone can tell us what it is. Very characteristic little red spots on the leaflets. And I'm sure many of you out there have seen this before. I have spoken about it at length. Elephants absolutely love them. And they make very good furniture. If you can get big enough specimens, But in this case, or in the case here in Djuma, or the Sabi Sands, the elephants eat them before they get any substantial size. So I wonder how many of you out there are into your trees this morning or this afternoon. Tell me what tree that is right there. And it is not just for camouflaging the kudu. It provides a small amount of shade. A very palatable tree. So how old do you reckon that kudu bull was, Ferg? Probably about 5 to 6. My pleasure, Hope. Please keep sending your questions through. Anything else we can answer for you would be fantastic. So that kudu is definitely a male. As everybody knows, the kudu, male and female, the sexual dimorphism, difference between male and female is males have horns and females don't. There's a slight stockiness in the male as well. And the spiralness of the horns there, see, it's a fully mature male. The tip of the horn has got that ivory tip to it. So this was a fully mature breeding male. Very difficult for kudu. We talk a lot about impala and a lot of other antelope out here, but kudu, when the males die, it takes quite a long time. I can't give you an exact number, but the death of a male, especially a prime breeding male, really does impact on the breeding of the females. They don't just take another male like the impalas do. Impala males going through their rutting, the females could see through many, many males during the breeding season, and it doesn't seem to affect their sort of strategy. But when a male kudu is removed from the population, it almost takes the females, I don't know how long, I need to work on that number, but it is a big dent in their population growth. So it's definitely something that they talk about out there, about managing populations. You need to make sure that you don't remove large breeding bulls from a population if you can. Monique wants to know when they killed this kudu, and by the look of it, it was probably last night. But I wasn't here to see it, and I didn't get too much of an update. So I'm sorry, I don't know, but I'm sure some of the viewers out there who've been watching closely have got the answers to that for Monique. By the state of the lions' bellies and by the fact that they're still here, to me means that it was made early this morning or late last night. But then I did not see it, Monique, so I'm sorry. I wonder if you folks can hear the breathing now, the panting of that cat. Oh, sorry about that. I can hear it. I can almost feel it. The power of I can only count 10 lions here, but the power of the breathing in the stillness. The wind has dropped again. So there's suddenly a nice stillness around, and just the odd flap of vultures taking off and landing. As we said before, the hooded vulture being the smallest and always the best indicator of finding meat, and the only vulture who gets too close to lions, because most of the other vultures, being as big as they are, they're not able to jump out of the way of the stalking cats that would rather pull it down to the ground and kill it. So the hooded vultures do quite well. They are quite nimble and quite easily, or much easier than the other larger birds in getting a little bit of flight and to get away from the lions. But I'm still loving how green it is here. I know being away, I didn't go too far. I only went about an hour away to a place I'm now renting near Hoedspruit. And we had some rain in the last 10 days, and you can tell by the greenery around that definitely going really, really well. Nice and green. P. Hart thinks the tree is a leadwood. It is not a leadwood. And Rory, it is not a torchwood. Unfortunately, no, those are incorrect. If you go in on that exact leaf there, can you see those little red spots on the leaf? Very red spots. It's very characteristic of this plant. Judy, of course you've got it. It is a round leaf teak, also known as a bloodwood. And quite easy to remember when you think of bloodwood, because it almost looks like there's some blood spoor on the leaf. Drips of blood of an animal maybe passing by. that seem to stain the leaf, that red spot. And it is indeed a teak, Pterocarpus rotundifolia, nice round leaf. And the pod resembles a wing. Very nice. Thank you, Judy, for the quiz. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have some very flat cats this afternoon. We're probably going to leave them in the next few moments. Go see if we can find you anything else of interest. So, let's go over to Taylor, who looks like she's on another planet altogether. Yes, you can. Can you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just have a quick listen. We've got one lioness feeding. Just hear that sort of generator-like sound. Busy gnawing on the cervical vertebrae of the kudu. The ripping of flesh. The kudu carcass is still hidden by those bushes, so we can't actually see what that lioness is doing. Just like earlier, we couldn't really see it, but we can just hear the noises coming from behind that bush. Jill wants to know, what are they trying to say when they contact call? And they're just trying to communicate with each other, trying to call the family members that might be close by, calling the cubs. Look at that. What a beautiful scene. It's normally for cubs or for locating the rest of the pride. Going to use our spotlight in the front here, just to get a little bit of illumination. There's absolutely no visual. No visual there. They're all hidden in the long grass. So we're going to keep looking at these flat cats. And maybe if you want to have another listen, because as this other lioness gets closer to the remains of the killer, there might be a bit more noise to follow. Sounds like a diesel pump struggling to start. So, to answer your question, Jill, that noise is not a contact call at all. That is a feeding noise that lions will do to basically say, I'm holding onto this piece. If you come near it, I will hit you in the face. So it's not much of a contact call. It's more of a threat to say, don't come near the last of my food. Very common in pride to do that. And what a marvelous afternoon we've had. It's been so good being back in Djuma, the roar of the lion, to see the lions, to hear them now feeding on a kudu. Sad as it might be for that kudu. How marvelous was it that Tristan was able to find Hosanna? I told you he would manage to do so, and Taylor, as always, lucky with the chameleons. I'm sure she's super excited about that. Thank you from all of us at Sabi, all of us in the Sabi Sands from Safari Live. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Happy Easter to all of you. We've had a fantastic time, and we're going to go back to the lions. And thank you. We'll see you bright and early in the morning for another show of Safari Live. Have a fantastic evening.